to be with you guys here today on another episode of the Red Hour Down. And beside me, as always, from flamesnation.ca, it is Robert Munich. Robert, how we doing today?
Oh, we're doing great. Anytime we can talk about the 31st place Calgary Flames, I'm in a good mood. Let's get
you're
after
in luck, because you're in luck. That's what we're going to do for the next little bit here. Before we dive into today's episode, I did tweet it out as well. Just to thank everyone for the downloads, the listens, the shares, and so forth. Last week's, I guess it was about 10 days ago now, our trade deadline episode is the most ever downloaded and listened to episode we have done in the almost 2 years we've done this podcast. So appreciate everyone for making us part of their podcast rotations. Hopefully this episode you find just as enjoyable as the last one. It's a little less newsy though, Robert, but still a lot to get into around the Flames. But thank you folks for making us have that episode. It was awesome. Road trip, Robert. Flames went on 5 games, went 1-4 on that road trip. What'd you make of the work over those 5 games? And really is for me a welcome to the rebuild moment.
You know what? I think it's exactly what Flames fans wanted to see. I think they saw a bunch of losses, but they also saw a team that was pretty competitive in most of the games. Like you go back to Washington, it was at 3-3 for a while, and then the Capitals kind of ran away with it. The New York game, they did lose 4-0. They didn't score a goal, but they had 5 or 6 glorious chances to score. And this team they don't have the talent right now to put away a lot of these chances. So I thought they were kind of right there against the Rangers. They beat the Devils. They lose by 1 to the Islanders. And then yesterday, outside the second period, they had a half decent game. So, they lost games, which was great for the tank purposes. And I thought they generated quite a few chances. They were relatively competitive and in some of these games. And, they got some decent performances from, a guy like Matvei Gridin. So overall, I think it was a very successful trip and everything that this Flames team needs right now.
I was on the Locked on Flames podcast, and the host over there, Ryan, was asking me what I make of the Flames, what success looks at for the Flames down the stretch here. And my answer to him was more about, let's stop looking at the wins or losses. Like, let's look at how this team is playing. Are we seeing guys like Matt Coronado and Connor Zary taking a step? What are we seeing out of Bristavage and Zane Parekh? So for me, it's more about the process rather than the actual results. So yeah, the Flames went 1-4 on the road trip, and that's what you get in a rebuild. But like you mentioned there, Robert, you can't deny that there was a lot of really good work put in by a lot of guys on that road trip, from the guys on the back end to the guys up front, guys scoring, guys having chances. So for me, yeah, there were definitely rough spots in those games, but you can't deny that a lot of these guys were working hard and working to the best of their abilities. There is clearly a lack of talent and high-end skill on this roster, but you still saw a lot of guys like Matt Coronado finally got off the schneid with a goal against the Dragons. Not the prettiest of goals he's ever scored, but you saw the work that led him to that moment. You saw Gridin with the work that allowed him to be successful on that road trip, and so on and so forth. So for me on that road trip, Robert, that's my takeaway, is you're getting awful results. Like a 4-0 loss is not fun to watch. A 7-3 game's not really fun to watch in that third period. But at the end of the day, I saw a lot of really, really good work by a lot of guys on the Flames roster. And that, for me, I think is what we should be focusing on rather than the results here. Focus on what guys are doing in that lineup. So
I agree. And you take a look at, I mentioned Matvei Gridin. I thought he was very good in all 5 games. I thought he was dangerous. The passing was off the charts. His shot, I know he hasn't scored a ton, but his shot looks very dangerous too. I just think he needs to just get it off a little bit more often. But, coming out of this road trip in particular, I've come away so impressed by Matvei Gridin's playmaking ability. And I think that's really important going forward because, I think at Ethan Wittenbach, you have a guy that has some very high-end vision and playmaking abilities. And really outside of that, there's not a ton of guys who are elite puck movers. You can throw Zane Parekh in the mix too, but this team needs some passers. They need playmakers. They need guys who make their teammates better. And the more and more I watch Matvei Gridin, the more I think he's going to become that guy. And I see him, when he's 22 through 30, I see him being a 65 to point per game, so 65 to 84 game or 84 point player as an NHLer. I think he's going to be that good. So yeah, he was a major positive for me. I really liked Matt Coronado's game. I know he wasn't scoring, but the chances this guy was generating were unbelievable. So he can keep generating those looks. He's going to start putting the puck in the back of the net way more often. And a couple other guys I thought were really good were Blake Coleman. I mean, this team is different when he's in the lineup. There were a couple games where he was just an animal. Like the win in New Jersey, he was spectacular. He was so good. And then the last guy I'll shout out is Yan Kuznetsov. I thought, a few games, maybe even a couple weeks before the Olympic break, I thought things were starting to fall off a little bit. Even his first, I'll call it 5 or 6 games after the Olympic break, I thought, he's just not quite as sharp as he was. The passing wasn't quite as good as it was. He's turning the puck over a little bit more. Some of his reads were off. But on this road trip, I thought he was way better. The one game, I forget which one it was, but in my post-game thoughts, I said that was the best game he's played all season. Like he was really, really solid, and he started to look like the guy that we saw from his first, call it, month or two in the NHL. So yeah, he was really good too, and hopefully he can get back in the lineup soon. But yeah, I mean, there are some positives to take away from this trip. There's no doubt about that, even though they lost a lot of games.
Yeah, like you keep looking at what you're saying there, Robert, about just these kids are doing it. Like you can even take what you saw with Zane Parekh with a positive view of like, hey, you're starting to see him feel a little bit more comfortable in the offensive things. Yes, he's going to have to work on some defensive stuff, but you saw progress on that side of the puck from him as well. Hunter Bristovich, I thought, was a lot better in his second game back from his first game. So you see improvement there as well. You're watching these guys just take a little bit of steps. And I think it's really important to let these kids play and play well, because there's one group of players that we're watching that, did you notice Olofsson at all on this road trip? Did you notice what Madmata is giving you? There are guys that are veterans that are invisible, but you're watching these kids play and taking the opportunities that's in front of them. Gridden is a great example of that, Robert. I agree with your assessment of his game. I thought he was maybe the best Flame yesterday, too. He played a fantastic game in Detroit. And it's nice to see these kids get rewarded for their opportunities. And so keep playing the kids, keep giving them minutes, because I've had enough of watching Olofsson, go for some cardio skates. I don't need to see those kind of players anymore. I don't need to see 20 minutes of Ryan Strome. All due respect, I want to see Gridden. You want to see Parekh. You want to see Coronado get more minutes. And I know he struggled a little bit as well, but give some more minutes to Connor Zary. See what you can get out of that guy. So continually play the kids, I think, is an important message for Ryan Huska as well down the stretcher for the Flames, because we've saw some positive things on this road trip from the younger players.
Yeah, and there's lots of positives around the organization as a whole right now, especially when you just go back to the trade deadline and they're finally going in a rebuild direction. They've accumulated a ton of assets, and some of their young guys who are in the NHL right now are playing well, and that's great. But it's just, there is part of me where I'm just slowly getting more and more pissed off watching the lineup that Ryan Huska is icing. It's driving me insane to see Victor Olofsson, who is absolutely useless. He has done nothing since joining the Calgary Flames, and I think he's sulking, and I think he has a shitty attitude because he got traded from a cup contender to Calgary. Unlike a guy like Ryan Strome, who's been awesome. It feels like Olofsson he just doesn't care. He knows he's not coming back. Don't play him. Sit him. He doesn't have to sit for the rest of the season, but don't play him every single night, and don't give him 15 to 18 minutes a game. What are we doing here? It's so stupid. The list of guys who I would just put in a rotation of they don't have to play every night is Olofsson, Sharangovich, Pospisil, Lomberg, Beecher, and Strome. Those 6 guys, say 3 of them can go in the lineup at a time, or 2 of them can go in the lineup at a time, and it's a bit of a rotation, because there's absolutely no reason for a guy like Connor Zary to be playing 10 minutes a night on a 4th line. It's ridiculous. Matvei Gridden needs to play way more. He needs to get at least another 3 or 4 minutes a night, because he's literally their best forward right now. And then we want to start seeing a guy like Tyson Gross. We want to see Adar Suniev and Brennan Othman and William Stromgren play Klapka more. Why they continue to ice, a quote unquote veteran lineup with guys like Pospisil, Sharangovich, Olofsson, Lomberg, Strome all in the lineup at the same time. It just makes no sense. So yeah, There's 15 or 14 games left this season. Play the mother effing kids. Conroy's got to go into the coach's room and tell Ryan Huska, if you ice another lineup with a bunch of veterans like this again, like, you're done. Like, this is not happening. We are now in player development mode. We are not in trying to win hockey games 1-0 mode. Play the kids, let them develop, let them see how the NHL works, how fast it is, how quickly they need to make decisions, what works, what doesn't. Do that. Like, just, it makes no sense to me. And it just, once again, just makes me want to take my head, bash it through a wall, because I just think it's so stupid the way they're approaching things right now. So yeah, I'm totally with you. They got to play some of these young guys.
Well, and it's funny too, because they started doing that. They started doing exactly that. They started giving Gridden opportunities. Parek's getting in games, playing a lot more after the break here than I thought he was going to play, even with his load management stuff. You saw Coronado getting top line minutes. And then all of a sudden, these veterans come in after you made these trades for Kadri and Weegar out the door. You had to bring back some money. You had to bring back some bodies. Like, I understand why they brought in Strome in that trade to help with the veteran, to help with the cap and all that stuff. But you don't need to see him play 24 minutes a night. I think 15 minutes of Ryan Strome is plenty. I understand you can't have a veteran to sit the rest of the season. I don't understand why not, but I get what they're doing. Like, they don't want to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth. They're so nice to players that they don't need to be nice to when they're trying to. You're rebuilding here, right? You're not trying to get into the playoffs. You're rebuilding here. I'm sorry if Victor Olofsson's feelings are hurt because the Avalanche included him in a deal so they can bring in Nazem Kadri. Well, go be pouty pants over there so I can get Connor Zary his 15 minutes a night, so I can give Gridden some power play opportunity, so I can play Matthew Coronado a little bit more. Go be pouty pants somewhere else, because you don't need that. I'm sorry, Ryan, but you're going to have to sit this game out, because I need to see what Connor Zary is as my third line center the rest of the way. I'm sorry if you have to be in and out of the lineup, because I have to see this player. These veterans, as nice as they are, and you do need veterans in your lineup, you also need to see what these kids are. And you're not going to see what Connor Zary is as a fourth line center. You're not going to see what Matt Gridden is if he gets one power play every 3 games and he plays 15 minutes on a third line. Put these kids in spots where you think they can play and let them play. Who cares if they make mistakes? I think Zane Parekh does deserve top 4 minutes. Let the guy play. Let the guy make the mistakes. This is almost like free time for the Flames to have free time to see what they get out of these guys, to put these guys in positions that if they were in a playoff chase, they wouldn't be able to do. Take advantage of your opportunities. Take advantage of your time right now. The time now over the last 14 games here, play the damn kids.
Yeah, you had a lot of good ideas there. Like, the one I really like is just the idea of playing Connor Zary at center in the top 9, playing with other skilled players. You can play Ryan Strome as your fourth line center. There's nothing wrong with that. And if he plays 8 to 10 minutes, then he plays 8 to 10 minutes. Like, give Connor Zary 15, 16, 17 minutes to give him an opportunity to show if he can actually play center. On the back end, like, play Parekh and Brstevich every game for the rest of the season. If you want to sit Zane, for one game on a back-to-back where they play 4 games in 6 days, you want to sit him on the 4th game, that's totally fine. But play both of them at the same time for the rest of the season as much as you can. Keep Jan Kuznetsov in the lineup there. Give Matt Gridden 19, 20 minutes a game, and he's on the first power play, he's on the first line. Same goes for Coronado. And then, when it comes to the fourth line, like, I'd love to see a guy like Brennan Othman get a chance just to show what he can do. I'd love to see Adar Suniev get called up at some point here. Maybe William Stromgren. I don't know, I'm not as sold on him, but you want to get Tyson Gross into 5 to 10 games potentially. Just do it. Ryan Huska, it feels like he's coaching for his life and his job security right now. And once again, that's where Conroy needs to go down there and say, Ryan, like, you're good. You're coming back next year. We're moving on to you developing young players. Stop playing the piss out of the veterans and give these young guys a shot. Because if Conroy doesn't do that, Huska is going to continue to play these vets, because that's just the way he's wired. And he's got that old school hockey mentality that you have to have all these guys in the lineup at the same time. And you can't ice too many rookies because you're going to be in danger of turning a puck over. Oh my God, we're going to turn a puck over when we're in 31st mother effing place in the NHL. What are we doing here?
Well, the vets on this road trip, the vets were the ones turning that puck over. The vets were the ones making the mistakes. Go back to that Detroit game and watch those first couple of goals that Patrick Kane get. Those pucks were not coming off of Zane Parek's stick. You're talking about veterans. You're talking about guys in key spots.
Kevin Ball and Zach Whitecloud, they were turning it over a lot on this trip.
And I like Zach Whitecloud, but he was bad. I like Kevin Ball, but I thought he struggled on the road trip. So it's like it's all about a balance for me down the stretch here, and they have way too many bodies, I think, at the moment at the big club that someone's going to be left out. But that's okay. But just don't make that person who's left out someone that you're trying to get a look at, someone that you're trying to get to the next level. Matvei Gridin shouldn't pay the price because you got to get Victor Olofsson in the lineup and give him some power play time. Zane Parekh shouldn't be paid the price because, well, we haven't seen Pahal play in a couple of days. That stuff shouldn't be happening. Get these kids in the lineup, rotate those veterans in and out as you see fit, and just let the veterans teach the kids how to play, but let the kids get that experience. It's not that hard of a concept. 31 other NHL franchises do it when they're in the position the Flames are doing it. Look at what Vancouver is doing. Look at what St. Louis is doing. They got rid of guys so they could play younger players. The Flames, for some odd reason, we traded away 2 or 3 veterans. Bring in another veteran so we have a guy here. You have Coleman, you have Backlund, you have Kevin Ball, you have Zach Whitecloud. You have your veterans here already. You didn't need more, but they brought in more. But don't rotate the kids in and out. Rotate the veterans in and out and let the kids play. Let Matvei Gridin play 18 minutes a night. Who cares? And who cares if Zane Parekh turns the puck over at the blue line? Learning experiences. That's what I would love to see down the stretch from the Flames. Continually play the kids, rotate the veterans around, and let them have their fun. And if they're going to be pouty pants about them, let them go sit pouty pants over there while the other kids play, or put them on waivers and let them go play in the AHL if they really want to be pouty pants about it. Because I don't have time to baby a 14-year veteran of the National Hockey League. You guys know what this is. You know what the business is. You need to see what Matvei Gridin is at the highest level. You need to see what Parekh is. You need to know what Connor Zary is. Is this the new Connor Zary, or is there more from him to get? Is this what Coronado is? Can I get more out of Matt Coronado? How much can I put on the plate of Hunter Bristevich? Is there something there from a Sam Morton or anyone else or a Gross that, hey, maybe we found ourselves a new fourth-line center that we don't have to play Beecher 20 minutes a night? That's where I'd like to see this Flames team go down the stretch. I don't care about the wins. I don't care about the losses. I don't care if Victor Olofsson gets his 3 minutes on the power play a night. I don't care. I want to see the kids play, and I want to see them play in positions that they don't normally play in. Give them more responsibility. Let them sink or swim, because this is the time. You have a free end of season here to play around with. Do it. Right? Just do it. And don't need to see Ryan Strome get 22 minutes a night.
Yeah, and you take a look at the veteran group of players that we're talking about who don't need to play every night. Victor Olofsson is a pending UFA. There's a 0% chance that he's back with the Flames. And you're not necessarily hurting his UFA status because, number one, the UFA class sucks, and there's going to be a demand for forwards, like guys that can shoot and score. And the Olofsson's been in the league for a long time. People, pro scouts and GMs, aren't going to look at his final 13 games with the Flames and go, oh, he was a healthy scratch for 9 of them. We can't sign him. That's just not going to happen. That's a load of crap. So you don't need to play Olofsson. Yegor Sharangovich is signed forever, and he's wildly inconsistent. It's been a mess this year outside of maybe the last week or so. You don't need to play him. Martain Pospisil just had a gigantic concussion. He's clearly not the same player right now. You don't need to play him. Ryan Lomberg's a pending UFA. You don't even know if he's going to be back. Plus, he's got such a good attitude that I think out of all these guys, he'd be the one who'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it. Johnny Beecher, I don't think he's an NHLer. I think he's been terrible since joining the Flames. There's no way they should bring him back. And then you got Strome. He's only signed until next year. And like I said, you can play him as your fourth line center while Zary plays up in the lineup. And then even on defense, Hanley and Pahal, they all have 1 year left on their deal. They're not long-term members of this team. You don't need to protect their feelings. They're veteran guys. They understand what position the Flames are in right now. So it's just the way the Flames are handling this right now is ridiculous. It's almost like Ryan Huska's delusional in thinking that putting out all these veteran guys and not giving the proper ice time to the young players is going to get them in the playoffs. Well, guess what, Ryan? Your team is terrible. You're not even close to the playoffs. You're not going to make the playoffs for the next 3 years. Focus on development. It's just, and I wish somebody in the media would ask him about this, because everyone has not asked him a question about this yet, and I would love to hear his explanation as to why he's doing what he's doing right now. But yeah, it's ridiculous to me. It's common sense. It's common sense to play these guys, is it not?
Well, yeah, it's like what I said. There's 31 other teams that do it that way, right? The Flames love the history. Oh man, I'm gonna come off such a hater here. The history of the Flames has been stuff like this. They've gotten in their own way so many times because they're afraid of something, whether it's a veteran's feelings or whether the optics might look differently on something, or we can't commit to a full rebuild till now because we're scared of the bottom line. Get out of your own way, because I bet you if you poll, there's always going to be poopy pants online wherever you poll. But wherever you poll, I bet you get a large majority saying they would rather see a fourth line made up of guys like Sam Morton and Gross and those kind of guys. I'd rather see Zeri on the third line over guys like Victor Olofsson, over guys like Ryan Strome. I bet you'd get a good 75 to 85% of people that would rather see these younger players play right now, because they understand, they know that the long term, these last 20-ish games that they had are going to help their development way more than them sitting in a press box would ever do. So I look forward to seeing the Johnny Beecher-led fourth line tomorrow against St. Louis with Ryan Lomberg and Martain Pospisil on the fourth line, and while we have these kids sit and watch, because I think that's where they're going to go. So it begs the question, and this is in our rundown, Robert. It begs the question: is Ryan Huska the man for this job now? Is this the opportunity that the Flames have in front of them to maybe pivot on the coaching front, or is Ryan Huska the guy for the job? He just needs the right mantra put in front of him. Hey, Brian, it's time to play the kids. Where do you lay on the job Ryan Huska's doing, and do the Flames need to move on?
Well, I want to hear where you're at first, because I talked about this on Afterburner last night, and I want to get your perspective on it first.
I like Ryan Huska, and you go back and you look at the job. I'll go all the way back to the WHL, and you look at the job he did in the WHL and how he graduated players to the pro level, and how the teams that he coached in Kelowna were really good. And then he gets the job in the AHL, and he's graduating left, right, and center guys from the Heat roster, the ones that he can graduate. So he can develop these guys. He developed Rasmus Andersson from his overweight hockey player who really didn't have a lot of pace to his game into what Rasmus Andersson was when they traded him, a very good top pairing defenseman who could move the puck, who skate, who was one of the better leaders of the organization. So he has the ability to be a really good developmental coach. He's done it before, and you see it. When you let him develop a player, he can develop guys. So in that aspect, if he's given the right mantra, hey, we need to develop these young kids, I think he can do it. I just wonder if right now, because he's gone down the road so far of, hey, I'm trying to win games and get a team to the playoffs, is his time done with the Flames that he needs to move on? The Flames need to bring in somebody else to do it. So I don't want to see Ryan Huska fired. I'm not on the fire Ryan Huska bandwagon. I just think he needs the right message from on high. Hey, we're not worried about the wins, losses. We're worried about the development side of things for the next season and a half. And I think he can do a good job of doing that. I just don't know if and I know a lot of, to be an unpopular opinion on the Flame fan, I see it all the time, fire Huska. But I think if the message is proper from on high, I think he's fine for the job for what he is right now.
Yeah, and I'm kind of right there with you. As time goes on, I do feel like, because of the situation the Flames are in, and just in that they're in that development mode and developing young players, with the way Huska's coached since joining the team, it does feel like he is not the right coach for that type of team. He almost feels like the right coach for more of a veteran group, more of an established group that's trying to make the playoffs. But I would say, I'm willing to give him next year to see if he can change his ways a little bit. I don't know if it'd be fair necessarily to fire him this year, because I do think straight from ownership and Don Maloney, the message to him was, we're going for the playoffs this year, and you're going to coach like hell, until we throw in the white towel, which essentially is what happened at the trade deadline. So I understand Huska is coaching the way he was coaching up until the point when they traded Uyghur and Kadri, but now that we're beyond that point, now it's time to change gears, right? Like, now it's time to fully go 100% into player development. And I still don't think he's quite ready to jump in headfirst into the deep end doing that. It's just, it does seem like he still has his reservations and concerns about playing a bunch of young players in the lineup, because he's worried that they're going to make mistakes and they're going to turn a bunch of pucks over and they're going to lose games. And that's where, once again, Conroy has to say that's okay. We're in a position right now, like you said, John, like you put it perfectly. It's free hockey for this team right now. Just go out there and just play and develop. And I don't know if Huska's, all that comfortable doing that. So like I said, maybe give him one more year. And, Craig Conroy also has to build a roster that forces Huska to make these decisions a little bit too. You can't have like this type of roster they have right now with a million veterans. Like, it can't happen, because then you're basically just giving Huska a free invitation to continue to do what he's been doing. So yeah, just go into the offseason. Hopefully Conroy and the management team, they have some difficult discussions with Huska. They tell him, hey, you gotta change the way you're going about these things right now. Give him another chance, because I've said a lot on this podcast, I like Huska the person a lot. I think a lot of the stuff he does, just the way he represents himself and the team, and the way he communicates, and the relationship he has with the players, and how he deals with the media, and like I think he's genuinely like a really smart, compassionate, good leader and a good person, and you want that type of person in your organization. But he does have to change the way he's going about these things right now, and we'll see if he can do it next year. I don't think he's going to get fired. I can almost guarantee he's not getting fired this year. I think they'll bring him back 100%, but hopefully he comes back with a different philosophy and a different way about going about things, because this is it's the position the Flames are in right now. It's all about young players. The next 2 years really don't matter whatsoever. It's all about building for, I would argue 3, 4, 5 years from now. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I like the guy, but the more I see what he's been like this year, the more I'm convinced that he's not the right guy for this job right now. And hopefully he'll change my mind here, because I hope it works out for him, because I do really like the guy.
The other side of this as well is, if you're making a coaching change, that means you're resetting the coaching as well, which means you're changing, quote unquote, systems, you're changing approaches, you're changing a lot, right? And you're going to have all of these younger players that already have a rapport with Ryan Huska are going to have to redevelop that with a new coach. Does that mean that Matt Vigran has to start all over again, trying to earn the trust of another coach, another system? Does Stevich do the same thing? Perek, the list goes on and on and on. So when you're changing coaches, there's a lot that goes into that. Rather, it's just not changing the guy behind the bench. You got to remember, is this new coach coming in? What's the message from on high for this new coach? Is he being brought in just to teach kids? Well, if that's your message, you already have a guy that can do that. Are you changing a coach because you think that this group is ready to win next year? You're delusional if that's your line of thought. But when you're changing a coach, it's really easy to say fire the coach. But what's the flip side of that? What's on the other side of that? What goes into changing your coach? Because it's not just a straight, hey, this guy's out, this guy's in. It changes a lot of the way of thinking. What if this coach doesn't like Connor Zary? What if this coach thinks Matt Coronado is the third line guy, not a first line guy? There's a lot that goes into it, in my opinion. So Ryan Huska does have a lot of work to do, and he does have to change the way his approach a little bit for me as well. But if he can get on the same page as Craig Conroy and the ownership group, and they get on the same page as the players, next year can be a lot of fun watching these players develop and grow, and Ryan Huska teaching these kids how to be good pros with, alongside Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman and the other veterans that are around this team. It could be a really fun thing to do. It doesn't have to be this, oh my gosh, look what Vancouver's going through this year. Like, everything that touches Vancouver this year is like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, this is a disaster. It can be fun like it is in San Jose. It could be fun to watch this group of players go. So it'll be interesting to see the approach. I'm with you. I don't think Huska's getting fired. I think Craig Conroy has faith that Ryan can do the job. Just make sure the messaging from owner to GM to coach to players is all one message, all one direction, and that everyone's pulling the wagon in hopes that in 3-4 seasons here, they can be a perennial playoff team and push to be a Stanley Cup contender and so on and so forth.
And, I could play devil's advocate on your argument there in the sense that say they do make a coaching change and they go out and look for somebody, like I look at a guy like Manny Malhotra with the Abbotsford Canucks right now. He's done a really good job down there, and he's a younger, more modern style coach. And, maybe he does have a great relationship with a guy like Zary and Coronado and Gridden and Perek and Brstevich, and they actually take another step. But like you said, there is also that risk where they don't. So, you just got to make sure you find the right guy. But the other thing about Huska, I didn't mention my little rant there, was just I don't like the style of play the Flames play. I find it very boring. I find they don't take very many risks. I would like to see them like if you're going to be this bad, like we're talking over the next 2 years, they're going to be a bottom 3 team in the league, probably both seasons. At least play some entertaining hockey. At least entertain your fans. Like, can you not do that? Like, not only does Huska play a really boring system, but he's doing it on a bad team, and I don't like that. I believe the NHL, they're in the entertainment industry. They're not in the hockey industry. They're not in the winning games industry. They're in the entertainment industry. The people that pay their salaries are the ones that sit their butts in the seats at the Saddledome. They're going to be the ones that are buying tickets and suites and all that kind of stuff at Scotia Place. It's the people who buy jerseys and buy merch and watch the games on TV and listen to podcasts and all that kind of stuff. Those are the people who are paying their salaries. They want to be entertained. And I think we all understand the situation the Flames are in right now. It's going to take a few years for them to get back to be a winning team, but play the young guys, play an up-tempo, entertaining style, take some risks. Don't be afraid to have your defensemen join the rush every now and then and create odd man opportunities. And if that does mean that it leads to a 2-on-1 the other way, then it leads to a 2-on-1 the other way. And you have one of the better goaltending duos in the NHL that you can rely on. Like that's another thing I'd like to see, because since Huska's taken over, they've played just a boring, horse shit style of hockey that, because they don't have any talent, they're trying to win games 1-0 and 2-1. I've had enough of that. And I would love to see them play more entertaining, because like we talk about this all the time. You just go around the league and watch other teams, and it's just like, oh, like why can't the Flames play like that? But no, like they have to be super defensive, and they have to be, they have to make sure that they don't exit the zone too early, because they need to have forwards down low for extra support. Like they never jump the zone, they never take risks. It's just like, I find the defensemen rarely join the rush. Like just those are just like little things that I feel like that could change and would actually make a big difference. Not only for the players, because I think the players would have more fun playing that style. I also think it'd be good for business too, because there's nothing worse than watching a 31st or 32nd place team that also plays just awful hockey and is dead last in the NHL in goals for.
What do you say? Now, this is my line of thinking, but this is what I hear in the media all the time. Well, Ryan Huska has to get the team to play this way because they don't have the horses. What do you say to that argument, Robert? Because I'm with you. They let the kids buck. Like let them lose, let them buck. But what do you say to the group that's, well, they have to play this way. They don't have the guys to open up and play another way. They don't have the skill. What do you say to that group of people?
Yeah, I would say you're in the entertainment business. Your team's going nowhere over the next couple of years. You're not very good. Why even put your fans through something like that? Think of your fans, play an entertaining style of game. You're not trying to get the 8th seed in the Western Conference, and you're not trying to be the 5th best defensive team in the league. You're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Embrace it and play some entertaining hockey. Like I said, the next 2 years, it's going to be rough, and the talent's not going to be there. But the thing you can control is the way you play. And even if they don't have the high octane, super talented players, you can still play a fast, up tempo, offensively, slanted game. Mm-hmm. And I actually think it's more important to play like that when you're bad, because, like I said, there's nothing worse than watching a 31st place team who plays really boring hockey. So yeah, I think that way of thinking is ridiculous. If this team, I think that style of hockey made sense for the way the Flames were built in 2022 when it was for the Huberdeau and Weegar and Kadri's first years, because they had a lot of very good players. It was a very deep team, but they didn't have like the truly elite guy. So playing that style with that type of roster, who is supposed to be competitive and going for a Stanley Cup, okay, I can get my head around that. But when you're this bad and you're trying to sell tickets and all that kind of stuff, like at least let the fans have some fun over the next couple of years, because there's going to be a lot of losing. And I would rather see them lose 5-4. I'd rather see them lose 6-5 than 2-1 or 3-0. It's just like, what are we doing here? So yeah, that's what I would say to that notion. And I've heard the same thing, and I do not agree with it at all.
Yeah, I bought the argument last year when he had those guys and he had those veterans and they were trying to win. I bought that argument last year. This year I don't buy it as much. Let the kids buck, right? Yeah, you got a guy in Matt Bigridden that can open it up and can play. You got a guy on the back end, got a couple guys on the back end that really can produce from the back end. Let him do it. Open it up a little bit. And if you lose 5-4 or you lose 4-2, what's the difference? It's still a loss at the end of the day. But
exactly.
What's going to happen, though, is those players are going to learn to play in the league while doing it. And I think that's more important than the end result. Let's switch gears a little bit here, Robert. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, even for some people might say, well, then you're going to be developing bad habits. But, what you and I are talking about right now is not about developing bad habits. It's just about take a few more risks.
Right.
Try to create some more odd man rushes. Jailbreak the zone early every now and then. Maybe create a couple breakaways. And these are things where if you're a really good team and you are trying to implement lots of structure, then you can go back to that. Like, it's not like you're programming these young players' brains to just automatically exit the zone early every single time they're in the defensive zone. Like, we're not saying stuff like that. And even like for like the culture perspective, I look at guys like Zary, Frost, Coronado, Farabee. Like, open it up for these guys too. Let them start to produce some points. Like, let them have some fun. I mean, these are the guys that you're going to be kind of building your team around, over the next 2 or 3 years here. Let them increase their value offensively and do things like that. Like, those are other players that I'm looking at too, that I hope that they can create more offense and generate some more points.
I'm with you there 100%. You had in our notes and our rundown here the future of Mr. Pospisil. You noted in the game we were texting back and forth about how he doesn't look like Martain Pospisil anymore. What's the future of 76 for you?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I mean, clearly he's not the same player. Like, it's not even close. The skating is not the same, and I even put it out there today. He's a solid 2 miles per hour slower this year in terms of his top skating speed than he was last season. Like, that's a huge drop off. He's not shooting the puck. He's not driving the net. He's not really being all that physical. We're used to seeing him throw like some pretty massive hits and be a pretty ferocious forechecker. We're not seeing that. We did see him drop the gloves and stand up for Hunter Brestevich, who took that kind of cheap hit against Detroit. But even that, it's like, you don't even want to see him do that, especially when Ryan Lomberg was like waiting and willing to take on that Red Wing. So yeah, I wonder if it's just one of those lost seasons for a guy just because of injury. Maybe this concussion has played a much larger role than what we had originally thought when he came back to the lineup. So the way I think I would look at it is bring him back next year. He just signed a 3-year deal. I don't really know if anybody's going to want to take on that contract with the way he's played this year. Try and rebuild his value. See if he can get back to being the fast-paced, hard-nosed guy with a little bit of skill like he was in his first 2 years in the league. And if you get him back to that, then one, you could keep him and he could be an effective player for your team. Or two, you increase his trade value. And with the cap going up the way it is, bringing on a guy, what is he making, like $2.25 million for the next 3 years or something like that?
Something like that.
You can bring on a guy like that basically to any team pretty easily. So yeah, I think I'm almost chalking it up to it's a lost season. That concussion really hurt him. He hasn't come back the same player. I'd actually love to see him the Flames shut him down for the year and just ensure that he goes in to the off season healthy so that he can train like crazy. He can get back to being the guy he was, and then come into training camp and really blow people away. That's kind of how I see it. I mean, what are you seeing from him this year?
It's 100% where I was going to go. I'm at the point where he missed so much time to start this season. He's so far behind the eight ball. He came back to play in the Olympics, and I don't blame him for that. I don't blame him for wanting to take part in all that. And he was fun over in Italy. He was the games that he was able to play in. But I'm at the point now where you got to start kind of worrying about longer term health of this player. What is he? What can he be? Maybe it is time to shut him down here and just be like, it's just not there, man. The skating's slower. The brain's not processing as fast. Not to sound rude, what are you bringing to the lineup right now that we can't get from somebody else? The fourth line is a very easy role to fill in the National Hockey League. It really, really is. And if you shut him down now and allow him to have a little bit extra time on his off season, and he can recuperate and he can get back to the strength that he was and he can take care of himself in his, he can come in next year and be a bull in a china shop. And maybe we see the Marty that we saw 2 seasons ago. Maybe we see him get back to what he is. Because if he can come in here and be a difference maker with his speed and his grit and his hitting and throwing his body around, chipping in with 10, 12 goals, and able to give himself an opportunity to be a role player again for the team, that's a good player that you could have around a growing, rebuilding hockey club. A guy that you don't mind putting out there on your fourth line. A guy that's going to show you that heart. You don't get that if he's not 100%. And that's, I think, where I'm at with Martain Pospisil. I think there's still something there if he approaches the game the right way. And I think the Flames need to kind of step in here and be like, listen, this isn't you. This isn't your game, and you're not providing what you need to provide. Let's get back there. And how you get back there? Rest, recover, and come back next year ready to be a difference maker. That's where I'm at with him. He needs to be a different maker for this team to be where they're going. And the only way he does that is make sure you're fully recovered from whatever's ailing you.
Yeah, I mean, like, could you imagine, within the last 15 games here, if he gets another concussion or he gets an injury, whether it's, like a lower body, upper body, whatever it is, and he's out for a considerable amount of time, like that, you might as well just put an end to his career
100%.
at that point.
100%.
So there's no point in playing him. You have a million players on your roster right now that you can put on the ice instead of him. Let him go out healthy, have that great off season, train like crazy, and come back and just reestablish yourself. I think that makes nothing but sense. And like watching him in that fight the other night, like he took a big right hand, straight on the face. And I was just like, oh, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, stop it. Like, get this guy out of the lineup and just protect him as a human being, let alone a hockey player. Like, I don't get it, but I hope the best for him, because when he is on his game, he's actually very effective. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of what he brings to the table, and there's a potential for him to, be a solid contributing member of this team for a few years. But just hopefully he's all right. I always worry about him a little bit.
Yeah, there's nothing to be gained in these last 15-ish games for him either, right? Like,
and he signed the contract, right? Like he's not playing for another deal.
100%. Like, you're not getting the playoffs. He's got his deal. There's nothing to be gained here. The only thing that really should be thought about right here now is what's best for the longer term view of Martain Pospisil in this rebuild of a season now. There is some positivity around the city of Calgary, around the almost done building, the soon to be done building. The World Cup of Hockey, Robert, is back. 2028, going to have the host city of Calgary. How awesome is that? Calgary, Edmonton, and Prague will have a joint hosting job for the 2028 World Cup in the new building. The NHL announced. How excited are you, being a Calgarian in that city, an opportunity for them to host a marquee NHL event?
Oh, dude, it's awesome. I think it's so great for the city. It's the first big time NHL event that they've had, I think, since the 2000 or 2001 NHL draft. I think that's when Rick DiPietro went first overall.
Oh, geez.
That's how long it's been
The Brent Conn draft.
So long it's been since Calgary's hosted a major NHL event. Like, that's crazy. Yep. So to have one back and to have all the best players in the world, come to Calgary and play in the new arena, check out the new arena, play in front of our fan base, experience the city. I think it's going to be great. And, like I saw like Barn Burner, like they were kind of roasting the NHL for including Edmonton in it. And, from my perspective, I think it's fantastic that we get the preliminary round and we get an elimination game. The city of Calgary, we get 7 games total here, which is awesome. I think it's going to give more fans an opportunity to go out and watch a game. There's going to be at least 3 Canada games. There might be 4 if Canada's involved in that elimination game. There's guaranteed to be a Canada-US game. There's no guarantee of there being Canada-US in Edmonton. So like when you take a look at Edmonton with the 2 semifinals and the final, they might get 1 Canada game. They might not get any Canada games. They might not get a Canada-USA game. Like, there's no guarantees there. But in Calgary, you get all those things, which is super exciting. And I know, like, from my perspective, I'm not the type of person that can afford to shell out $400 or $500 to go watch a hockey game. But, I might be able to afford a game, say it's the 4th place team, call it Germany versus the USA, something like that. Like, I could probably be able to afford to go to a game like that. And I think there's a lot of people, especially these days with just how freaking expensive everything is, that are going to be in the same boat. So, lots of people are going to have an opportunity to go to a game if they want. They're not going to have to shell out $400 to go watch a semifinal or a final in the upper bowl at Rogers Place. Overall, like, I think it's great. I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, you're essentially guaranteed Canada and US being in this pool. And you're going to see one of those games in our city, and that's become the best rivalry in all of sports. So yeah, I'm super fired up for it, and I can't wait for it to get here.
There's no downside for me. There's 0 downside for me. I don't care that Edmonton gets the championship game. Whatever, let them have it. What I'm excited for is this is going to show off the city of Calgary. This is going to show off the new barn. That's going to put it into players' heads that this is a place that's playable. This is a place to come play. So maybe the Flames can reap some benefits of hosting this event. And this goes to show you that this new building is good for more than just the on-ice product. This is great for the city. This is great for the franchise. And it's best on best in our backyard. Like, how cool is that? Crosby's probably still going to be around. McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, Austin Matthews coming through, the Kachuk brother. The list goes on of all these superstars that you're going to be able to see all at one time. And I know people are making fun of hockey that, the smaller teams, like the 7th place team, aren't that great. Sign me up for Germany, Slovakia. I'll go watch that. I don't care. Because it's a marquee event. It's a big-time event. It's in your city. It's in your brand new arena that you're going to have. There's nothing not to like there. There really isn't, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited. I didn't think Calgary could actually pull that off. I thought that this World Cup's going to go to the big town, the New York or the Los Angeles, maybe Vegas, those kind of places, because that's what the NHL likes to do. They love their big markets. You're talking about 2 smaller NHL markets hosting this event, plus Prague, of course, in that awesome arena they have over there. That's awesome that the NHL is recognizing it. Hey, we got other markets here. These guys have a brand new barn. Let's use it to the full ability of that barn. It's an awesome statement from the NHL that they're going to give this to Calgary. It's awesome for Calgary. And maybe at the end of the day, the Flames reap the benefits of it, that other NHL players, hey, this is actually a very playable place to come play. Maybe I'll come live here and play a couple of seasons with the Flames. You never know what the end result might be for the Calgary Flames. So this is nothing but positive for me, and I'm always up for international hockey. I think it's the best thing on this planet. So sign me up for more.
Yeah, and just think about, you list off some of the players, but just think about what Team Canada is going to look like. There's going to be a lot of players returning from that Olympics, but then you're probably going to add a Connor Bedard. You're going to add a Matthew Schaefer to that group. Celebrini is going to be that much better. Like Dave McKinnon is going to be better. Like, oh my God, like it's going to be one of the great Team Canadas of all time, and they're going to be playing 3 or 4 games in our city. I think that's unbelievably exciting, and just shows you the power of having a new arena. This wouldn't have happened if the Flames hadn't got the deal done with Scotia Place. And like you said, we're gonna see more events like this. The NHL draft will come to Calgary. You know, we'll get more World Juniors. We might get another World Cup one day. You know, the Olympics might come back to Calgary one day because they're running out of cities. It's getting too damn hot on this planet. and then even in like the concerts too, we're gonna get like all like the best concerts. All that. Like it's just nothing but good things are gonna come from this. So yeah, I cannot wait for the 2028 World Cup. I'm definitely gonna get out to at least one game, and even like you said, even if it is Slovakia in the United States, I'm fired up for that. Like,
I'm there.
That's gonna be awesome.
The one controversial question to this World Cup: do you invite Russia?
You answer first.
I'm gonna do this in the most nicest way possible. If there's still the conflict going on with Russia, you don't bring them as the country of Russia. You bring them under a different name. But that group of individuals, I think, need to play. I think you bring that group under a different name. I don't know how you pull it off. I don't know what you. The guys at Empty Netters podcast, they were joking. Bring them with the old Soviet Union throwback jerseys and go that direction. Do something. But I think that group of players deserves to play. Kaprizov and those guys. I think they deserve to be in a tournament like this. Just maybe not under the Russia heading. Maybe find some other way of doing it. I just don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it either. Like you said, if the conflict in Ukraine is over, then I think they should be allowed to join. You know, my stance has always been this is all political. None of these hockey players have anything to do with it. Yeah. And I can almost guarantee you a lot of them disagree with what's going on right now, you know, outside of Alex Ovechkin. But if Ovechkin spoke badly against Putin, he'd probably be murdered. So I don't want that to happen. But I mean, having
there's
Russia,
there's a safe way to do it and have these athletes there. I don't know why you don't do it. Bring them under a European name or something, or NHL super team or something. I don't care how you do it. I think this group of players deserves to be there, and for me it is still best on best, but it needs to be true best on best. You need to have that Russian group there because that's a great hockey club, and they have some of the best goaltending in the league right now too. Like a U.S. Russian semifinal is a great game. Canada Russia semifinals are awesome games. Bring those back.
Oh yeah, it would make the tournament so much better. Like it would honestly, it'd be night and day. And the thing is, you know, say the Russians were allowed to play in this tournament, there's no way they would play in Prague. I think there would be riots and protests outside their buildings. So that would mean the Russians would come to Calgary, and you'd have Canada, USA, and Russia all in the same pool. Like that would be unbelievable.
Sign me up.
You take a look at some of the Russian players, whether it's Panarin, Kucherov, Kaprizov, Kirill Marchenko, Ivan Demidov, Barbashev, Mishkov. Like this team is really good. Malkin will probably still be playing by then. Sergachev on defense is a really nice player, and you got like Nikishin and Gavrikov, and like you said, the goaltending is insane with Shesterkin, Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Ilya Sorokin. Like it's unbelievable. So yeah, from a pure hockey perspective, it would be awesome if they could somehow get the Russians in this tournament. But what they're doing in Ukraine is terrible, and there really should be any benefit of the doubt given to that country. But yeah, if they could somehow make it happen, it would make the hockey pretty spectacular.
I look forward to watching Denmark versus Slovakia at the World Cup. Robert, anything else you want to bring up on today's podcast? If not, what's coming up from you on flamesnation.ca, and where can the folks find your work? Yeah,
just continue to follow me at Ring of Fire CGY. I'm grinding through the highlights, trying to post as much positive stuff as possible, and just continue to follow. Thanks for listening.
He's Ring of Fire CGY across social media. I'm Vintage Johnny 84, and of course the show Red Mile Rundown, wherever you get your content. Thank you so much again for making that last episode such success, and I hope you enjoyed this one as well. Enjoy the homestand. The St. Louis Blues come to town among other teams for 6 games at the Saddle Dome. Enjoy them. We're down to the last 50 games at the Saddle Dome, Robert. That's crazy little stat I heard on the radio today. So enjoy them while we have them, and we'll see you guys next week here on the Red Mile Rundown.